ก็คงได้ความกระจ่างแล้วก็ความชัดเจนหรือว่าแนวทางในการดำเนินธุรกิจนะคะที่ชัดเจนขึ้นนะคะและต่อไปนะคะก็ถึงเวลาที่ทุกคนอาจจะรอคอยได้พบกับโปรดิวเซอร์ระดับรางวัลออสการ์นะคะแต่ก่อนพบกับคุณทอมนูแนนนะคะดิฉันก็ขอเรียนเชิญทุกท่านนะคะชมผลงานบางส่วนของท่านนะคะจาก VTR นี้ค่ะ
It's just as good as God. Better.
Morning, David.
Not really, Hank. I've seen better.
What in the hell is going on in here?
I was just pissing on your grandpa. You're getting ready to be the weakest link. Do it! Matt Dillon. Have a good one. Steve's on.
Lady on fire!
Christina Applegate. Whisper, you have a boyfriend?
Yeah.
What'd you do if he was having sex with another girl?
Play with her tits?
Employee of the month.
Thank you. I give you ice.
I've seen you perform. Perhaps you give me a tip.
How can we help you, Inspector?
The Crown Prince plans to attend your performance tonight.
I need a volunteer from the audience. Someone not afraid of death. Do you know me?
No.
It's the sense of touch. Any real city, you walk, you know? You brush past people, people bump into you. In LA, nobody touches you. We're always behind this metal and glass.
How far can bullets go?
You thinking about that bullet that came through your window?
What's wrong? You all right?
I am angry all the time, and I don't know why.
Put your hands on top of your head, man.
Will you just do what he says?
Now, do you have any guns or knives or anything I might get stuck with?
It's your brother's file. Kid's going away for life for stealing a car.
All I need to do to make this disappear is to frame a potentially innocent man.
Did you find your brother?
Oh.
Tell him to come home.
Why do you keep everybody at a certain distance, huh? Or you start to feel something and panic? What I need is a husband who will not just stand there.
What did you want me to do? Get us both shot?
Get out of the car! Give me the keys!
I just had a gun pointed in my face. And it was my fault because I knew it was gonna happen.
Hands in plain sight, step out of the vehicle.
Honey, stay inside! Man, don't walk up on me! I know this man! Get back! You think you know who you are? You have no idea.
You had a conversation with God, huh? What did God say?
I'm trying to help you.
I didn't ask for your help, did I?
It's okay, Daddy. I'll protect you.
It's the sense of touch. I think we miss that touch so much that we crash into each other just so we can feel something.
The best motion picture of the year. It all comes down to these 5 wonderful films. The nominees are Brokeback Mountain, Diana Osana and James Seamus, producers. Capote, Caroline Barron, William Vince and Michael O'Hoven, producers. Crash, Paul Haggis, Kathy Schulman. Of course, producers. Good night and good luck. Brad Heslov, producer. Munich, Kathleen Kennedy, Steven Spielberg, Barry Mendel, producers. And the Oscar goes to Crash.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Tom Nunan. และดิฉันนะคะขอมอบเวทีนี้ให้แก่ดร.พิสมรกิเลนทองเป็นผู้ดำเนินรายการในวันนี้ค่ะ
Hi everybody. I'm going to be speaking in English. I hope that's okay. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you to the UTCC and to the president. And thank you for the city of Bangkok for being so welcoming. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about the I Am Gay movie. I hope that's okay. But I will be talking a lot about the I Am Gay channel. Things are very exciting, I think, in the film and television business today, as they are in the education business. In my background, I've been fortunate enough to attend film school, work in the entertainment industry as an executive, work in the film business as an executive, work in philanthropy as an executive, become a film producer, become a TV producer, and then work as an academic as well, all simultaneously. And so I have a lot of experience in every corner of the table when it comes to entertainment business, and academics. And I think the most exciting opportunities, as many of you are aware, are happening in Asia today. The United States, Europe, even parts of South America have matured in this industry to the extent that most of the innovation when it comes to opportunity with distribution in particular, but also with content, is expected to come out of Asia over the next 50 years. There will always be huge budget movies that are made in the United States. That's one part of content that America still seems to have a corner of the market on. It's not just it's not just because of the movie stars. As many of you know, most of these giant movies today do not feature big movie stars. The concept is the star of the movie. The special effects and the animation is the star of the movie. And right now, the United States is the only country that seems to have a corner on producing movies of that scale and of that quality. But as technology continues to improve and storytelling becomes more universal in its construct, there's no reason to believe that Asia won't be competing as well, if not equal, if not better, than the United States and Europe in the years and decades to come, even with these giant scale movies. A lot of people focus on the movie business when they talk to educators and businessmen. But the truth is that television is by far the largest revenue generator in the world when it comes to entertainment. And television will be dominant when it comes to Asia and its entertainment delivery systems. Movies will always be a part of our culture, but television will be our focus. And the sooner that Asia begins contributing in new and innovative ways with its content, particularly when it comes to scripted television and game shows, then they will join the party, not in terms of just the creative conversation, but in terms of the commercial resources and revenues that are generated by these formats that can be distributed worldwide and adapted worldwide. So why am I so excited about being in Thailand today? Of the Asian countries that are part of the, is it AES-EAN group? ASEAN? AECEAN? You know what I'm talking about. Thailand's got the second largest economy behind Indonesia, but I think as an American, it's perceived as the most open and welcoming country among those countries in the Big Ten, and it's also the most user-friendly when it comes to artists, filmmakers, television producers, television executives, and academics who can share information across the Pacific together. Thailand is joyful, fun, emotional culture. It's a benevolent place to come and spend time. And there's no reason, if we can get the stability that the guests that were speaking before me were talking about when it comes to regulation and direction from the business community and the government, that Thailand shouldn't be on the leading edge of TV and film in the years to come. Yes, Japan and Korea have done amazing things when it comes to film culture in particular, but no country in Asia is dominant in original television content yet, and it's an enormous opportunity for this country in particular. So what does this have to do with UTCC? UTCC is one of many schools that I've come and visited over the years as both an entertainment industry expert and an expert at helping create new curriculum and new direction for universities around the world and around the United States. UTCC is uniquely poised to be the intersection of art, education, and commerce, not only in Bangkok, but Thailand, and in all of Asia. Why? Because they already have a remarkable reputation in the business world. And they can instantly translate that reputation of expertise and excellence in business to their efforts in media and entertainment education. UTCC could become the destination point for conversation, debate, and leadership when it comes to all of Thai entertainment industries coming together and figuring out what we need to do next. UTCC can invite the entertainment professionals to come and endorse and help form the curriculum for students at the undergrad level all the way through graduate levels so that they are better prepared to join the workforce as soon as they graduate from UTCC, if not before. the goal would be for UTCC not only to hold symposiums, seminars, and festivals talking about the future of the business, the way that the gentleman in the panel today spoke before I came up, but to do this on a regular basis, whether it's quarterly or biannually or annually in the beginning, so that we all come to expect the great ideas emerging from UTCC on behalf of Bangkok, Thailand, and Asia, and that the students here will have the reputation, as they're leaving, to be industry experts. This is not something that has to take 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 years. An academic organization like the UTCC can instantly transform their reputation in a matter of months if we collect together to create this focus. I wouldn't be so optimistic and so enthusiastic about this if I hadn't met many of the faculty members and deans already. I'm certain you have the right personnel. It's the right time for Thailand, and it's the right time when it comes to an openness in formats and content distribution worldwide. The technology is there already. All we need now is a similar focus together to move together as colleagues and friends towards the future. So with that in mind, I'm happy to answer any questions, and I'm grateful again for your time, and I'll talk to you about Crash or anything else. Okay? Thanks.
Thank you, Tom, for your insight and for believing in UTCC and Thailand's potential and opportunity in the future. So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm so glad to have you here with us tonight. And joining us tonight, as you know, Mr. Tom Nunan, the producer of an Oscar-winning motion picture, Crash, for Best Picture. And we have a variety of audiences here today, and I think your insight and experience will fit some of their interests anyhow. So as you work, so far includes so many things from in the past as a president of the network, UPN Network, Fox Broadcasting Company, and NBC Studios, and also you're teaching at UCLA right now, and also a work at Joyful Heart Foundation. So is it typical for someone in the entertainment industry to work on so many things at the same time like this?
Yes. If you have a background as an executive the way I did, and also as an alumni of UCLA, you're taught early on to be able to accommodate a lot of work in a short period of time. And so it's like a computer program. If you get used to a certain speed and a certain amount of information coming in, that's what you expect from your computer, and that's what you could sort of expect from a trained academic, a film student, TV student, and trained executive. So I've always found that the more I'm doing, the better I do. That if I start to slow down and I'm just focused on 1 or 2 projects, or if I take a sabbatical from UCLA, or I drop down to my philanthropy work, that I'm not only less productive, but I'm not as happy.
But how does each work related to each other? Do they complement to each other? So, for example, you're teaching, you get any material that contribute to your film production?
For the most part, these things, my production company, Bullseye, which is film, television, and new media, my help with UCLA, as I help form the film and television division, and I teach a few classes in the graduate school. I'm the chair of Joyful Heart Foundation and other philanthropic work. They tend to operate separately, uniquely, and it's not that I keep them separate, but just like most people who are juggling a lot of things,
Right.
whether it's family and work, or they may complement each other, but they tend to function uniquely.
Different. Okay, so okay, I think many people are here today because of the movie Crash. So let's talk a little bit about that movie. So can you tell us about what is your inspiration for that movie?
Well,
we've heard that it's based on true story.
A lot of people aren't aware of that, but the movie actually, that really happened. I don't know how many people have seen the movie. Very few.
ใครได้ดูมั้งคะหนังเรื่อง Crash?
So the movie starts off with two gangbangers, two kids from the hood, who are in a big argument, and they end up stealing the vehicle of two white upper-class people. One of them is a politician, a Range Rover. They steal this car, and that happened to our director. He was out in Westwood, which is a small town in Los Angeles. It's actually where UCLA is. He was out to dinner that night, and he and his wife were walking back to their car, and they saw two black guys, and they started to worry, like, are those guys going to hold us up? And then they started to think, well, gosh, am I racist for thinking that these two black guys are going to hold us up?
Right.
And indeed, that's what happened. And when they got the car back, they were surprised because there were a couple of DVDs in the back seat.
Okay.
And the DVDs were foreign films.
I see.
And they were stolen. The DVDs were gone. And they thought, why were those two gangbangers, like, we got our car back, but they kept the two foreign films, you know, like, who are those guys? And so, as a result, Paul wrote this story in one night of all these interconnected stories in the way that most of us in LA are separated from each other because of the car culture that we have, and all we can do is really look out and think that we know someone that we don't really know. Some of the cliches are true, but some aren't. And I think that movie ultimately was as much about fear as it was intolerance or anything else. But yeah, it was a true story, and every studio had passed on it. I had just announced my new company, Bullseye.
I see.
I knew Paul, the writer of the script, from the TV business, because that's where I came from. And he gave me the script, and I loved it. And I knew that we could cast it in a way that we could get international pre-sales for the movie, so that our budget would be covered even if we didn't get a domestic distribution sale. But we did, and everything worked out great.
All right, so you were thinking about like how to sell the movie even before it was done?
At the script stage, yeah.
I see. So that's why. So the next question is, how did you come up with such an amazing story? How to capture the audience attention and make money out of it? How do you know that it's going to make money?
Well,
do you know it for certain?
We don't.
Of course not.
What we do know is that when we go into any venture, when it comes to an independent film, we're what's called risk averse, right?
Yeah.
And so my students will always ask me, well, what does risk averse mean? Does that mean that you're willing to lose 50% of your investment? And I say, no. And they go, well, does that mean 20%? And I say, no. And they say, well, does that mean 5%? And I say, no. That means we don't risk any money. So whenever we go into the production of a movie or a TV show or even a web series for cell phone, we make sure that our budget's covered, either by foreign pre-sales, by selling it to a TV network or to Google or to YouTube.
So you know who the buyers are?
Yeah, we know who the buyers are. Whether the movie will make money or the TV show will become huge, we don't have any control over that. But at least we cannot lose money.
All right.
And that's the whole point. Like, Well, you just keep making as much as you can, because you can never predict what's going to be successful.
Okay.
When we were making Crash, I had a TV pilot at CBS network, a TV network in the United States, and my partners were Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. And the question was, okay, so I'll make this TV pilot. We're making Crash simultaneously. We thought for sure the TV pilot was going to be a huge hit.
I see.
And we have very low expectations for Crash.
Okay.
And so it just completely flipped.
So poor them. Poor Matt Damon and Ben Affleck.
Yeah, poor Ben and Matt.
Yeah. Too bad.
You know,
so
that was their one shot.
Got it covered is the key.
Right.
So,
cover your budget.
Yeah, cover your budget. So what about
and don't use your own money.
What about the story? How do you balance between picking the movie that you think it's a shallow movie, those action thriller that will be a big box office hit, and another one that arts movie, just like.
So what's the question?
So how do you balance between picking the shallow movie, between producing
how do I
shallow?
decide between movies?
Yes.
Well, I'm an expert at putting together independent films that have big movie stars in them. That's one area of expertise that I have. So how do I do that? I'm able to access material, scripts, that I know is extremely elevated material.
Okay.
I have a reputation for attracting that material, and I also have an eye and experience to read and be able to discern between good and bad scripts.
Okay, I see.
Now, that said, those kinds of movies like The Illusionist and Crash, those are harder and harder to get made these days. People would rather watch that video on demand than in a movie theater.
Okay.
If you go out to the Paragon, is that the theater,
Right,
the mall here? You're not going to see a movie like Crash there. You'll see John Carter, Hunger Games, maybe one of the Thai movies. But for the most part, they're big budget, kind of silly movies aimed to 14-year-old boys that will buy tickets over and over again. So what I do now is look for two kinds of films. Extremely low budget horror films, thrillers, or extremely big budget studio films. And if you create that focus, you'll tend to get material like that. When we were making independent films with big movie stars, that was our business plan.
So you would get more chances.
We set out to make those. And now the market has changed, and I have to make different movies.
Okay. So you get more chances of selecting the good ones. You have more bigger pool.
Now I do.
Better scripts if you have more focus.
I have a bigger pool because I'm doing a more diverse slate. Before I was doing a very narrow kind of film.
I see.
And now I'm making bigger movies.
Okay. So you have been like president of like many networks like Fox, NBC, UPN, and also you're having your own company. So do you consider yourself successful now?
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
No, I think that I teach, right? I've been teaching for 16 years.
Right.
And what I teach in my class is two fundamentals. One is, here's how you can be successful in your career, whatever career you pick, whether it's television, movies, writing, becoming an executive, becoming an advertising person, working in journalism, whatever it is. Here's how you can be successful in your career. Here's how you can be successful in life. These are these two separate issues. And that's been a problem I've seen with some emerging countries, emerging economies, that they too often grab for the obvious American capitalistic drive to just get the biggest car, the biggest paycheck, the biggest house, and it's an empty experience, because if that's how you equate happiness,
okay,
then you're always going to need a bigger car, bigger house, and a bigger, bigger paycheck.
Right.
So what you're seeing is this kind of interesting evolution in the United States and in Europe. Both regions that were extremely driven towards material wealth are all starting to turn a little bit more inwards. Because they see that the pursuit of chasing, whether it's becoming an Oscar-winning producer, a network executive, a studio executive, whatever, that it's still empty as far as that experience. It can be great in terms of recognition and variety of experiences and attention like this, but the happiness part, the fun part, isn't attaining these things as much as it's helping other people attain what they're looking for, and become better people as a result. I know it may sound kind of corny and emotional, but I'd hate to see the Thai culture of people that, like we were in the United States, just climbing over each other and being almost like animals to get to the goals that they want to get to, when you already have intact such wonderful values.
Okay.
You know, because it doesn't lead to happiness, but it does lead to a lot of depression and alcohol and drug abuse.
So you consider yourself a successful both in career and in life at
yeah,
this
because
point.
I think it's the merge of career with contribution.
Okay.
Working as chairman of Joyful Heart Foundation, which is for survivors of sexual and domestic violence, and contributing so much time to UCLA and to other schools around the world. You know, I didn't come here for a big paycheck to come to Thailand. I came here. Are my expenses getting paid? Yes, all of that's true, but I want to help out, and I found that keeps me happier, more fulfilled, and I get to learn about other cultures in the process. So I'm the one who's benefiting from this.
Okay, glad to hear that. So, do you have a blueprint for success? How to be successful in life?
Well, I teach one thing with my students and with different companies that are trying to change their brands. It's basically having three things intact. One is whether you're an individual or a small company or a big studio, and I've taught this and I get paid to do this over and over again. You have to have a vision for what you're seeking to accomplish, and that's something that's a 5-year vision that you've vetted with your loved ones and your best friends. And you're not necessarily broadcasting that to the world, but you've all agreed, like if UTCC, for example, if their vision was to become the best business entrepreneurship media university in Asia, and let's say that's their 5 or 10-year goal, all of the deans and the chairs would agree on that. And then they would come up with a mission on how they're accomplishing that. Okay, so now make that as an individual goal. Let's say my mission is to have the #1 thriller and the #1 big action movie within the next 5 years. What am I doing? I'm developing 40 thrillers. I'm developing 40 big action movies. That's my mission. And then finally, I have to be known for something. And I have to stand out for something. So for me, my reputation or my credo is I'm a brand builder. I helped build Fox, NBC, UPN, and my own company. I'm a content innovator. I innovated content wherever I went and continue to. And I'm a revenue accelerator. So there's creative elements to it and there's business elements to it. And I get known for that. And that can happen for you as an individual, and that can happen for you as a company or as a learning institution. And that's the blueprint that I create so that you're not unconsciously going out without a map. You've got a map that you've agreed on with your colleagues and your loved ones that's realistic, And then you have a mission plan that you're going to follow through with it, and what's unique about you to add to that.
Yeah. So I've learned that you have planned about like what's to be succeed in the next 5 years, or you have your mission since like 20 years old. So would you like to share with us that story?
Well, I did a similar thing with my own career. When I was 20, I made the decision I wanted to be a president of a network, president of a studio, and also run the largest philanthropic organization in Hollywood. And I did all those things by the time I was 37. So at age 37, after I had already run a studio and run a network and run this philanthropic organization, I had to sit down and do it again. Mm-hmm. And I literally wrote down, we will become a film, Bullseye will become a film and television company. We will make independent movies, we'll make cable and network shows, and we will win the Academy Award. Now, we did all of those things, and I'm continuing to do those things today, but you have to be really specific about it. You can't just say, I'm going to work, you could say, I'm going to work in television. So then I might say back to you, oh, okay, so you want to be a security guard downstairs? Because there's a job open at our studio. And it's like, no, I don't want to do that. Oh, do you want to be a presenter at a game show? Well, no, I don't want to do that either. Okay, well, what do you want to do? Oh, I want to produce, what's it called? Lacon shows. And I'm like, okay, that's fine, but you have to tell me that. And you have to own that part. The problem with most of the students and young professionals I deal with is they know what they don't want to do, but they're not specific enough about what they want to do. I've spoken to some professionals here in Thailand, and I've said, look, the Lacorn is fine, and the game shows are fine, but you're going to have to move into scripted content. We're living in a world where Norway, Sweden, Brazil, and Israel are putting out some of the most innovative scripted content that the United States is then adapting. Why isn't Thailand doing that? These are the shows that we're buying from Israel and from Norway and Sweden and elsewhere. We're not just putting their shows on the air. We're looking at these shows that they've produced. We're saying, there's an original idea. Now let's make it in a way that Americans will like it.
I see.
And you guys can do the same with formats that we do, and I'm sure you have, and I know you do with game shows. So why not do it with scripted content?
Just like something like Wipeout?
Well, that's a game show, though.
It's a game show, yeah.
But something like The Office,
series?
The Office with BBC became an American hit show. Homeland was an Israeli show, became an American hit show. In Treatment, an Israeli show, American hit show. The Killing, Norwegian show, American hit show. These are all scripted shows. They're not nonfiction content.
So do you think that the technology convergence or media convergence will help Thailand to move in that direction?
Well, I think your VIPs that you had before me were very articulate and much better informed than I am about the state of the Thai media convergence. However, it was clear to me as an outsider that the fact that the rules are a little bit fuzzy here are not helping the industry.
That's what they're
so
talking about.
If they can get clarity about that, it's exactly this kind of forum that will bring that about. Because the press will come to these things, industry leaders will come to these things, and UTCC will be known as the destination point when these kinds of matters want to be debated. And it's not putting all the pressure exclusively on the government.
Okay.
It's asking the industry leaders and the Thai academics to step up and say, let's try to find a way to solve this together.
Okay. That should be the way.
It's one way.
Yeah. Okay, so but what can I say? You said that the business leader should be the one who leads this movement towards the new direction.
Mm-hmm.
But is that, from what I know, in the U.S., the government doesn't have much control over the media. So why we are waiting for the response or the regulation from the government? So what should be the next move?
Well, the U.S. government has had very clear rules in place when it comes to television ownership and syndication, and how that functions with regards to new media distribution outlets.
Okay, yeah.
They have the same kind of regulation when it comes to the Motion Picture Association of America. I don't know what the regulations are with regards to Thai film and television and new media, but my sense was that there's some fuzziness, that there's some debate that's still going on with regards to the regulatory bodies. We've had the United States, since the 1930s, its second largest export has been entertainment.
Right.
And it remains that. And the first being military and defense, of course. But the second largest export is entertainment. And I think part of it's because the regulatory bodies have been so stable during that period of time.
Okay.
Rules get rewritten always. But the fact that there's a stable foundation and that industry can rise on the basis of that stable foundation makes a huge difference with commercial enterprise.
Okay, yeah. So we hope.
And you know, white papers can be generated out of this university that say, this is the model for business for Thai television, Thai film, you know, where it's needed. This is the exact environment where this kind of stuff can get resolved. In my humble opinion.
Thank you so much for believing in our capability. So
well, the reason I say that is most film schools, there's over 1,500 film schools in the United States, right? Most of you probably know about 4, 5, or 6 of them. USC, UCLA, NYU, AFI, Emerson, CalArts does animation for Pixar and Disney. What are all the other idiots doing? Why do they suck and these 6 are good? Because all the others are just chasing each other, trying to do, oh, I'm going to do a mediocre screenwriting school, or I'm going to do a mediocre directing school, or mediocre acting school. And they don't stand out, they don't draw good students, they don't draw good faculty members. SC, UCLA, NYU, AFI, CalArts, Emerson, they all stand for excellence, but they also have a specific focus. And I think the closest model for this university is Emerson, which had a great business school and then said, we're going to become the best media entrepreneur school in the United States. This tiny little school in Boston. Some of you may know that like UCLA and USC and AFI, they're right there in LA. They're right there in Hollywood next to the big studios. Emerson's way the hell on the other side of the country in Boston. Why do they deserve to even be in the conversation? Because they stand for business excellence. And this university already stands for that. So is it going to try to pretend to just be another mediocre pseudo art school? I don't think that'll work. I think the students can do internships at the studios, production companies, and agencies, at advertising companies around Bangkok to get the real world experience. But in the meantime, this place can stand for business excellence in media.
Thank you for your insight. So let's come back a little bit on the work, on progress that you are doing now. You want to share with us what are you working on for your fans here in Thailand?
With the fans?
Yes.
I've got a number of projects in development. How many of you seen Blair Witch or Paranormal Activity or The Devil Inside, or, you know, these are what's called, or Chronicle. These are found footage movies, you know, so no big stars, and they're pseudo-documentary style. Extremely inexpensive, extremely entertaining. So I've got a movie about a group of young girls who win these exclusive tickets to a concert festival out in the desert. And they get all access passes to this concert festival. And things start to go wrong. And these are groupies, and it's a groupie. And it's this very fast-paced, intense concert film that deals with kids who get in over their head and get into a lot of trouble, and it goes to all of those feelings about danger with rock music. And have any of you ever been backstage at a concert? You know, backstage, you know, to see like big rock stars or something. It feels really dangerous and scary and dirty and evil, and it's a great environment for a movie.
All bad things.
Yeah. So I'm doing that. I'm also working with, who's heard of David Bowie, the rock star? Who's heard of Lady Gaga?
Wow.
Okay. Well, Lady Gaga is going to, hopefully, this isn't for the press, this is off the record, but Lady Gaga is hopefully going to be working with us on a documentary about David Bowie's career. But that's not official. Please don't publish that. That's off the record. I'll say it 3 times, off the record. And then I'm doing a series with Ray Kurzweil, who's a futurist. He's familiar, some of you may know The Singularity. We're doing a cable series about what's going to happen 30 years in the future from now. What will our life expectancies be? What will sex be like? What will what will artificial intelligence be like? How will we get around in transportation? Things like that.
So the futurist.
Future, it's called Ray Kurzweil's Future.
Okay. Yeah. So where will, which network will these shows be aired?
The Ray Kurzweil thing will be HBO. The Groupie thing is an independent film, so we're not sure yet.
Oh, I see.
David Bowie, we're hoping is Showtime and CBS Films.
Okay. Yeah, the fans, please write down all those info so you can expect his next movies and shows on there. So I think we have some questions from the press. I will go over this one first. About the 3D movies, they said it's not new anymore. What next?
Well,
we have 4D right now. So you experienced it
4D.
yesterday.
I went to 4D last night. I tried out the Hunger Games in 4D at the Paragon. I don't know is the short answer. I don't know what's next. I'm not a big fan of 3D, and I wasn't crazy about 4D, to be honest with you. I don't think that. Okay, let me put that differently. What we know is that going to movies isn't going to change. And so there's always going to be movie theaters. And the reason Hollywood's making these huge budgeted films is because that doesn't look like a TV show. You can't mistake that for a TV show. You can watch Crash and think, that could be on TV. And in fact, it was on TV for 2 years as a TV show. But so we're always going to have movie theaters. We're always going to have nice televisions in our home. They're going to get bigger and bigger, and the new technology we're seeing is that it's as big as this wall back here. That'll be normal in as many rooms as you want in your house. The thing that'll go away is a traditional laptop and a traditional desktop. Those will be gone. You'll have your little tablet, and you might have a cell phone, probably just a chip or something. But I think those are the formats that we're going to be experiencing entertainment on for the most part. Is a tablet, huge screens in our homes, and still movie theaters. But as far as 3D, 4D, 5D, I have no idea.
So that's the insight from the futurist?
Yeah, that'll be in my show.
All right, so let me see. So for the fans again, if you have a chance to produce something for Thai market, for Thai audience, what you would like to do?
Well, and it's not because I'm trying to make friends here, but I'm the last person who should be producing for the Thai market. All of you should be producing for the Thai market. The world has never been more open to local productions. I can't tell you, when I go to the Academy Awards almost every year, and Golden Globes and the others, and what are we all talking about? We're not talking about Hunger Games. You know, we're talking about A Separation, the Iranian film that won the Academy Award this past year. Or we're talking about whatever cool new animated short film that may have come in from Finland, you know? It's local production, local talent, local forms of storytelling. That's exciting. But I would say to you, if you really want to break out, if you want to do a big box office hit, genres, thrillers, horror, supernatural, elevated genre films, that translates globally. Comedies are difficult, romantic comedies, very difficult, musicals, forget about it, you know? But elevated genre films, the biggest filmmakers in the world, Steven Spielberg, James Cameron, George Lucas, Christopher Nolan, they all started out in these elevated genre films. Thriller, horror, supernatural. And I don't mean to sound reductive when it comes to Asian genre films, but there is a great tradition in the East for genre films. And why not keep going?
Great. So it would be boring if it's only me who talks to Tom. So let's take questions from our audience today. Anyone want to ask a question, please? Please.
Tom, first of all, I would like to thank you for the good intention to sacrifice your time and your money to coming down here. We appreciate it very much in the first place. And I wish that, you know, in the next coming of the New Year party of our department of the mass communication, they will announce the thing like this, you know. The title of the godfather of this department goes to Tom Nunan.
Hey!
Now,
I'll take it.
I got two easy questions. First, you have been the producer of so many films, and in your viewpoint, you know, the movie star that you have been working with, I mean, they're not the big stars at the moment. Who are those stars that you can give the prediction that they got the very good talent and then we become a big stars? Okay, that's the first question. Second question, when you transform yourself from the producer and becoming into the lecturers, like Dr. Jackals and Mr. Hyde, can you recall any of your students that you have been flung them out and they get out from the school and become a very good success?
That I've been
flung them. You give them an F.
Oh, that I failed
They have to
them.
leave. You flung them.
Oh.
And then they later on, you know, they left the school and make a good career in the movie or mass media business.
No, you know, it doesn't. I haven't had that experience where we've failed someone and they've become huge. A lot of us left school early. I had finished my undergraduate degree in film, and I was 1 year into my graduate screenwriting degree when I got offered an executive job. And the company I was working for insisted that I quit school and work for them full time. And so my comeback was, then you have to pay off all my student loans. which is how it works at least in the United States if you're paying for your own school. And so I left school early. But for the most part, the students that I have at UCLA, what I teach them is you may learn a lot of information from me, but the real benefit is from working with each other. And one of the biggest innovations that I've seen, not only in the United States but worldwide, are those higher learning institutions that insist on students working on multiple projects together each semester and rotating the leadership on the projects. And so, for the most part, I've watched my students graduate and be successful. The ones that fail are the ones that give up. It's not because they're excellent and, oh my gosh, I can't find a job. You know, most of them are excellent, but if they fail, it's in entertainment, it's because they don't have the stamina to stay with it. And the humility. You do often have to take jobs in the beginning that are very low level, and that may be beneath your MFA or your master's degree or your PhD, but it's short term. You have to have that vision we've talked about, you know. So I don't know if that answers your questions about my students, but the talent thing, believe it or not, it's pretty easy to see superstars. It's pretty easy to see, you know, because you'll have the script. Like, for example, with Crash, we had Sean Penn was in the Matt Dillon role originally. Jodie Foster was in the Sandra Bullock role. And then we ultimately couldn't make deals with them. But we had a long list of who we would put in those roles if we couldn't get the people we started out with. And you tend to come up with a type and then say, okay, let's hire the best casting director, and they'll give us 200 candidates for that. And then we'll circle 5 of them and just run those people over and over and over again. And talent's talent. You'll just see it. You just see it instantly. And I mean, I did a TV show one year at Fox. I was 26 years old, and we did a show with this kid, and he was the biggest jerk on earth. And he was always shutting down production. It was a sitcom. And and finally they called me up and they said, you got to come down and talk to him. He's being so difficult. And I come down and I go, what are you doing? You're stopping this whole production. These are great writers. You know, you're being given the opportunity. He was 16, I think, at the time. Opportunity of a lifetime. And he goes, I never thought you would make this show. I just was doing it for a paycheck. I didn't think it was going to go on the air. I hate this. I'm going to be a movie star. This is at age 16. And I said, yeah, right. And he was a real little nerd. You know, he was a geek. And I said, well, we're not letting you out of your contract. You have to stay in the show. So we keep producing episodes. He keeps on being a jerk. His best friend calls me down, and he says, look, I've been in a couple of episodes. The show hasn't gone on the air yet. Why don't you let me switch roles with him? I love this show. I love these writers. I'll do a great job, and he can leave. And I go, what are you, like a little devil or something? Like, have you even talked to your best friend about this? And the kid who was the jerk was Tobey Maguire. And his best friend who said, I'll do the show, was Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh my God.
So you know, and they were 16 at the time. And they were all, you could already tell, I couldn't tell so much with Toby, but with Leonardo, I was like, you know, you knew these are stars.
Next questions, please.
Thank you so much for your sharing your world-class experience with us. I would like to ask some similar question. From your success of Cash movie, did you plan or expect from it from the beginning? And what is the tip for creating your ideal plan from the Cash? Yeah. Could you tell me something about, do you expect something from Cash when you start to produce?
Well, when we started to attract casting to the script, we knew we might have something special, but because it was about race and intolerance and fear and all these things, we weren't sure if there would ever be a broad audience for it. And so that's why we keep making movies and other TV shows. But I went to the Toronto Film Festival where we premiered the movie, and we got a 10-minute standing ovation. And that was the first time I thought, you know, this one might go the distance. But we'd had several failed test screenings before that. In fact, in one of the screenings, it looked really, all of the boxes were just very mediocre, 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 which is the worst. You either want people to hate your movie or to love it, but you don't want them to be sort of indifferent about it. And we got back that it just looked too pretty. It was just too nice looking. And so we looked at that, and so we messed it up. We ran it through dirt, and we put all this dust on it and everything, and we created a yellow filter on the whole film, so it looked more low budget and independent and artsy. And then we tested it again and went through the roof. So I think you always have a good bet if you're dealing with excellent material. And that no matter what genre you're in, if you just start with, I want an excellent script, you'd be so surprised. A lot of students will say, I just want to make a movie. I just want to make a film. So I say, okay, well then you're going to make one. You could just get out your iPhone right now and you can make a movie. But it's harder to say I want to make an excellent film with excellent material, you know? And that's what we did.
Next question.
Well, I got to tell you first that it's been a while since I last speak English to anyone, so please excuse my slow English speaking if that's going to occur in some part of what I might speak. And I got to tell you first that I got about 3 questions to ask, if you don't mind. And I would like it to go like, I ask you a question and you just answer it right away. If you don't mind, or else if you just want me to ask you one question, just tell me right now. You
it's
okay, right? Okay.
And your English is fine.
Thanks. That's overwhelming. Yeah. Well, I got to tell you first that I'm a high school student who just finished my high school years, and I want to be a film director. And my plan for, I am planning to go to America this year, and I was aiming to apply to UCLA. And as one of the professors yourself, I would like to ask you for any, what's the word I'm looking for? Any criteria, any advice. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Any advice that you could give me as a fresh off high school student who want to apply to UCLA, you know, what should I prepare? How should I prepare it to enter a filmmaker course, you know? And yeah, that's my first question. Yep.
Well, it's a long answer, because all I can tell you is that I'm involved in picking the students for the graduate school, not for undergrad.
Yep.
What you have to do when you go to UCLA is you have to start in a normal major, like English, history, one of the liberal arts majors.
Oh, but one thing though, I was born in America, so I got a U.S. citizenship, if that's going to make any difference. So just so you know.
It doesn't make any difference.
I see.
So
okay.
you start in an undergrad as a liberal arts major, and then when you're a junior or third year, then you can apply it to the film school.
I see.
So the first effort is just to get into UCLA.
I see. And how could I get into UCLA again?
Well, good grades, and you know, it's
like SAT. Is SAT?
Yeah, I mean they have on the website. It has all of the requirements.
Okay, that should do. Yeah, okay. The second question. Well, as an executive producer yourself, what do you think make a good filmmaker, a good director per se?
The question is, what makes a great director? What do we
I mean,
look for?
in your opinion, you know.
In my opinion, what we look for with a great director is somebody who has experience either directing a short film, directing an independent film or a major film, and real confidence and a vision when we meet with them. The meeting as often is as important as the film that we've looked at in advance of the meeting. If the person comes in really well prepared, they have a lookbook of how they're going to shoot the film, they've got a strategy with their director of photography, they know the locations they want to shoot, they might even have in mind talent or actors. It's a confident vision is what we look for.
I see. So what you pretty much do as a filmmaker is to answer the right yes and the right no to your crew. Like I want these actors, I want the set to be like this and the lighting effect to be like that, all the stuff.
That's close.
Okay. Okay. I'm pretty proud of myself.
So can we go on with
okay, the third question, the last question. I promise.
Because the time limitation, can we go on with the next person, please?
Okay. Mr. Nunan, as I'm in the field of performing arts, my question will inevitably deal with arts. First question, what is a good combination between ethics and money in terms of artistic value? And the second question is, how do you merge arts and business in your productions? Thank you very much.
So the first question is about ethics and money. Well, like, what's the right balance? Is that what your question is? I think the easy answer is ethics always has to take the first role. You always have to be honest. That's the main thing, guys. Always be honest. Rigorous honesty. That's the baseline. If you're dishonest, and the entertainment business for some reason attracts a lot of liars, if you're dishonest, you will be burned for the rest of your career, or you'll be relegated to parts of your career that you wish you didn't have to suffer through. So your ethics always have to come first, and they have to drive all of your decision making, whether it comes to business or your personal life. I forget what your second question was.
How do you merge your art and artistic and money in your production?
Well, I mean, it's like I was saying to your colleague next to you. I think you have to stand for something. You've got to decide, I'm going to make the best horror film, or I'm going to make the best independent film, or the most excellent sitcom, or drama, or licorne. You know, but you have to know what you stand for. And I think a lot of students and young professionals don't feel qualified to stand for anything. They're just so desperate to work in the business that they forget their way. I think you ask a really good question. You have to know who you are and what you stand for while you're in school, frankly. You know.
Next question, Chen Kunatka.
Tom, my curiosity about Crash is what is the most important part of the production that you have faced?
Well, the key element was the screenplay. It had to be an exceptional script. Without an exceptional script, we can't attract the great cast. Without the great cast, we can't get foreign pre-sales and bank loans. Without the bank loans and foreign pre-sales, we can't make the movie. So it all starts with the screenplay. And I think that's the case all the way around. Unfortunately, there's a lot of money out there to make mediocre content. You know, there's people who they just want titles, they want copyrights, you know, they just want ownership. And it doesn't take that much effort to just focus your staff and your team more towards excellence. And what we were fortunate, I have been president of a few studios and companies. My business partner, Kathy Schulman, had been president of a few studios herself. And we had a reputation for having a discerning eye when it comes to material. So I think it all started with the script. Same thing with The Illusionist, you know?
So we have time for the last question. Maybe someone over there. Student.
What are the what keeps you up at night? What are the challenges and trends that scare you that will affect the content production business, and what are you doing about it?
Well, what keeps me up at night right now is the 14-hour time difference between LA and Bangkok. And I'm not kidding about that. But what worries me is, for me, it's always looking for the good script. I'm always chasing great scripts, you know, and I'm competing. Usually if there's a really good script, you're competing with other people for it. I'm competing for something right now that, you know, this production company that owns the script, they think they're going to be able to get Brad Pitt to star in it, and I'm offering Javier Bardem, you know? And I've got Javier Bardem for a short period of time, and I'm certain that Brad Pitt's going to pass on this thing, but if he takes it, then not only do I not get the movie, but I lose Javier Bardem, you know? So most of the time it's chasing material. There was a novel that just sold that you might have read about called 50 Shades of Grey. It just sold in the United States. All of the major studios were after it. I wasn't even in the game for this. And 10 studios were after it. The studio presidents had to meet with the author personally to make their pitch for not just this movie, this title, but the next two that hadn't even been written yet. So it's extremely competitive, you know? And I worry sometimes, like I'm getting older. I turned 49 this year, and I'm like, I'm not competing with the young producers out there, you know? So that worries me sometimes too, that I'll lose touch. Like I was saying to someone, what's the sign of getting really old? You're at the #1 movie in the world, Hunger Games, right? And I hated it, you know? And I'm just watching it going, what is this? You know, why is everyone going to this movie? And I would go, oh yes, I'm getting old, you know? So anyway, that's not the most hopeful way to end things, but you know, I am getting old though.
So thank you, Tom, for your insight.
Thanks, good luck with everything, guys.
And thank you everyone for joining us tonight.